Terminal 1 in Toronto, just at our gate for the trip to Istanbul. January 8th, this is the view from our room in Istanbul at the Conrad or Hilton Hotel, the Bosporus Hotel. Our room in Istanbul. Here's a view from our Cairo hotel. It's called the Fairmont Nile City, and you can see the Nile down there, and yeah, beautiful view. And at night you can see the boats on the river. And this is our hotel room. We're just getting ready to go down for our first day, full day in Cairo. And where are we going there again, Greg, today? So the first pyramid. Beautiful down there. The ballroom.
In the bus. So most welcome one more time to Egypt, and I hope that we'll have a great time together. My name is Lamia, Lamia. And as you just heard from my colleague, we're one big group, one big family traveling together, having a great time. If for any reason I'm not in front of you somewhere and you have any question, you can always get to any of my colleagues. Always embarrassed somehow. I don't have enough words to tell you about how do Egyptians drive, because they drive crazy. Simply, they drive crazy. And we don't have any rules for driving. We make our own lanes, we squeeze in, we just go here and there. We're not really keen about traffic lights, but we manage. I'm an Egyptian, born and raised in Cairo, so I know what I'm talking about, and I know how Cairo is a chaos, with a population of over 20 million in the big city of Cairo, where Egypt is an overpopulated country, because you may get over 100 million anywhere in the world, but the problem is that the 110 million that we have in Egypt, they live on a very narrow strip on the banks of the river Nile, and we have the deserts, the Sahara on the east and the west, which forms the very big part of the country. So this is up on the top. It's just lowering the bus to get under the bridge. So, so driving is something. It's an experience. You'll get used to it by time, and promise you when we go on the Nile cruise, we will have a nice, easy break away from the traffic and from the horns and from all the motorcycles that gets you just alert. What's this? How they're doing? A whole family on a motorcycle. How they're surviving. Come on, how they're doing between the buses and all the vehicles. Well, it's a matter of getting used. And one of the good things of traveling is to get the experience and to get exposed of what people live in different parts of the world. So this is Egypt with the Saharas on the sides. It's a 1 million square kilometer that we're talking about a country, but we're living on the banks of the river, because the river is our source of water. It's our old civilization. It's where we live. If the river Nile did not run in Egypt, Egypt would not exist. We will have one of the lectures on board the ship will be Egypt and the Nile. And this will be an interesting topic for those who wants to learn more and more about Egypt. So now I'll be going around giving the papers, the sign-up forms. While this, you can watch what's on the right. We're by the Nile, and we have an island facing the hotel. This is a nice island, which you've all seen when you were having the breakfast, and all comes up in your room. This is a nice part of the city. Early 20th century, the wealthy families were living there because this is like a chic area. But now it's getting to be a bit busy, and many of these families have moved to the suburbs. Now, to look for more a private area, we move to the suburbs. And we have suburbs towards the deserts, whether on the west or on the east. And Cairo is getting, the downtown area is getting to be so busy, including the island, which is there on your right hand side. But as we're driving, you can still see some of the standalone houses, and some others turned to be big apartments. So this is how it's been one day, with more and more of the luxury houses that we have here. So I'll go with the papers. If you remember your stateroom number will be easy. If not, so I'll go with the names.
Van is just filled.
This morning we are heading south of Giza, and this is to go to Saqqara. And Saqqara is very famous because it's where the oldest pyramid in the world, the Step Pyramid. So we'll start the story of history with the oldest pyramid, and actually within your trip in Egypt, every day we take you into a chapter of a big story. So Egypt is not just a destination that you will end up, you say, well, I've made it, it was in my bucket list, but it's a big story of an old civilization, a very special history that you would learn about. And we would love to include all the different stories of our history day after day. So today, we'll take you back into the very early part of the history, in part of what the ancient Egyptians built, in a period of the history of what we call it the Old Kingdom. So we simply divide our pharaonic history into three major periods. We have the Old Kingdom, and sounds to be the very old period. We have a Middle Kingdom and a New Kingdom. When we go to Luxor on Wednesday morning, we will take you into another chapter, and this will be the New Kingdom. So the old is where we are here today and tomorrow, because tomorrow we're going to visit the Giza plateau as well, and this is related to the Old Kingdom. What do I mean by old, middle, and new? It's different periods, but if I'm talking about the old, I'm talking about 2700 before Christ, 2600. This is the very early period. But if I'm jumping into the history and I'm talking about the New Kingdom, where Luxor was the capital, so I'm taking into the 13th century, 14th century, 15th before Christ. Today, it doesn't make any difference because everything in this country sounds to be very old. It's an old history that you would learn about, but definitely we will let you know the details of the history and how it changed from the beginning to the middle to the end. So this is the very, very first words to tell you about our ancient history. And to start with as well, the ABC for the history is how these ancient Egyptians believed in afterlife. Because everything we'll learn about, it's related to eternity. They were big believers that they're living forever. If I'm doing this when I was alive, I'm going to do this again in my afterlife. That's why they prepared for their afterlife by building pyramids, building tombs. Once the king started ruling the country, he would think about, where am I going to be in my next life? So I need to prepare for my next life. So this is what we're talking about. This is our history. And the ancient Egyptians, they built their tombs and their pyramids on the west bank of the river. That's why we crossed the river this morning. And the belief was they live on the east where the sun rises, but they are buried on the west where the sun sets. So live on one side, bury on the other, and this is going to be very clear when we go to Luxor as well, because to go to the tombs in Luxor, we're going to cross the river, moving from one side to another to get to the Valley of the Kings and the great sites that we have there in the south. In the beginning of the history, which is the Old Kingdom, they lived in a capital with the name Memphis. And Memphis is not far from Saqqara, but we're not visiting because there's not much still preserved and remaining in Memphis. It's just ruins of a capital. But this is just to tell you where they lived in the early part of the history. And then they moved down to Luxor. And the reason why they moved, because they were extending the borders and they were fighting with the southern border countries like Sudan and Nubia, which is in the south. Nubians were known into the history that these were the villages or the places between Egypt and Sudan, and we were getting the gold in ancient time from Nubia. So when the kings of Egypt, they succeeded to get Nubia as part of the country, they thought, why not to have a better control and to move the capital from the north all the way down to the south. So Luxor became the capital in the new kingdom, and it was known with the name, when the Greeks came onto Egypt, with the name Thebes. Are you familiar with Thebes? So Thebes is the same as Luxor. If I'm using the word Thebes, this is just like Luxor. And the Arabs gave it the word Luxor because it comes from the word Qasr, which means palace in Arabic. They were impressed with the temples. They considered them great palaces, so they gave it the word Luxor. So this is what we just start with in our history. We've been taking flyovers and ring roads, and we're moving from the city. Look at the apartments and the crowds of how people live everywhere down here. This is like new roads, part of a ring road or a belt road. They're trying as much as they can to make traffic at ease somehow in Cairo. Although the more they do, the more we get the overpopulation. Here people, they love to have big size of families. We're talking about a Muslim country, and the Muslims in general, they believe that birth control or family planning is against religion. So no matter what the campaigns the government is doing about the birth control, they don't really listen, they don't really care. They love the size of families. And the children in Egypt, they do go to school, but they can also work. So it's an income that they get to the family by having the children and the size of the kids here and there. So we're taking these flyovers and bridges as we go around the city with all the Egyptians today. They live mainly in apartments with an average size of like 2 or 3 bedrooms and a reception. They vary in the way whether they rent or they buy. But just I tell you something interesting. Many years ago, there was nobody living in this area except the farmers. So this was part of the farmland, close to the Nile. We're not yet far away from the Nile. This was the green area, the fertile land, the fertile soil. But from the 1970, the farmers who lived around this area, they started to remove layers and layers from the soil, selling it to the brick factories, making a fortune out of this. But on the other hand, they can easily apply with a permit through the government that my farm is not useful anymore to grow anything, so I can come up with all these towers of buildings. So this is what happened from the 1970, and just off and on you can see still little areas with greenery, but the majority of the space came to be part of Cairo. Cairo is the capital, Cairo is the hub, the big city that everybody wants to come and live in here. So it ended up to be such a crowded city as we are moving here. And part of Cairo is the Giza. So when we talk about population, we count it as Cairo and Giza together. The second big city after Cairo will be Alexandria. Look at what I'm talking about on the right, some of the greenery. Just little areas, but one day it was all as green as this. The second big city after Cairo is Alexandria. And few of our guests are going to Alexandria after the trip on the Nile. A few others are going to Jordan after the trip on the Nile. And few from our bus, they've been together, 15 from our bus, they've been to Turkey before coming to Egypt. So they're already having a bond. We're a group of 25, but 15 of them were in Turkey visiting Istanbul before they started their trip to Egypt. So Viking really trying to make a good package of a trip, including different places, as long as you're coming all the way, flying from home to here. So Egypt is an important country, but then beside Egypt there is a number of other nice places to visit. More of the greenery of the farmland on the left with a lot of date palms. The dates is very special to Egypt. We grow a lot of dates, and this is not the season, but it's like August, September when we get the fresh dates. And our trip to Saqqara this morning, it's all going to be by the countryside. So the rest of our drive, when we get off the ring road, will be going towards south of Giza, and it's all by the villages. It's a good way to learn about the lifestyle of the farmers, which is very different than the city people. And this will be similar to when we go on the cruise, because when we go on the cruise, on our cruise ship, this will be the typical thing that will be sailing, passing the villages one day after the other, learning more about the Egyptians and how they live, what about their culture, what about their tradition. And one day on the ship, we will have a talk, a lecture about women in Egypt. So this will be an interesting topic to let you know more about what is the status of women, what we do and what we don't, how we do manage living, what's our rights, and this is all part of our time together when we are on the cruise ship. So heading to Saqqara, when we go there, we're going to have two main stops in our program. The one main stop would be visiting the Step Pyramid, and the Step Pyramid, it's dating back to the Old Kingdom, the 2700 before Christ. This pyramid doesn't have an entry, you're not going inside the pyramid, but we do have another stop in Saqqara that will give you the chance to walk inside the pyramid. So we will start by a visit to a pyramid in Saqqara, and next to the pyramid, a tomb for a nobleman, and then from there we go to the Step Pyramid. So we have two things included in Saqqara, and the reason why Viking loves to include this small pyramid today, because tomorrow when we are in Giza, it's not really recommended to go into the Giza pyramid. It's not an easy way to go into the pyramid of Giza. It's such a walk, and it's claustrophobic. We get the comments that it was too much of an effort. It was really hard to get inside, and you have to crawl to get all the way into the pyramid in Giza. So we've chosen another pyramid that we have in Saqqara this morning, and you will be going into this one if you're interested, just for the experience, and to go back home and you say, when I was in Egypt, I went inside the pyramid. And also the pyramid of this morning, when you walk in, it's even interesting than Giza, because you end up in a room which is the burial chamber, and this room of the small one, it has hieroglyphic writings on the walls. So it's a small pyramid that was built after Giza, because when they built the Giza pyramids, they were keen about the size, the structure. They were really going so big. But after Giza, they made small pyramids, and they started decorating them from inside. So this is our example of a small pyramid this morning for a king. His name was Teti, T-I-T-I. And next to his pyramid, we have a tomb. We call it a mastaba. Mastaba is an Arabic word, and it means bench, because the tomb looks like a structure of a bench. So the tomb would be for a nobleman, like a vizier, that was within the time of King Teti. So if the king has his pyramid in a spot, next to his pyramid, he will have the tombs for the different viziers. So we're still by the ring road. Look at how the directions, we've been coming from different parts of Egypt. They take us from one part of the other. So we're still taking the ring road, and look at the traffic on the other side. This ring road goes all the way towards a new extension of Giza. It's a new city with the name the 6th of October city. And this is where many people living out there in this new suburb. And they come in the morning, so they don't have the chance to work out there as well. They still come in the morning with the traffic that you see on the left side, but they come through the ring road because they have the work, their offices there in Cairo. So the ring road, and then you'll find the signs that says October City. This is on the west. We have other cities there in the east, so this is how they extended and they stretched. They moved from the downtown and from when the Nile, and they moved to the east and the west. But Cairo as a capital, it has a history that takes us back to the 7th century. So 7th century was the time when Cairo became the capital. Prior this period of the history, they had different capitals, like Memphis, which I mentioned, like Luxor, and what else? Alexandria. Alexandria one day was the capital when the Greeks started in Egypt with the famous Alexander the Great. So it's the city that has been named after him. So back into the 1st century or even before, like Alexander started in Egypt and settled up in the north by the Mediterranean, and then they moved up to Cairo, which is a bit south from Alexandria. This is how we got the main cities of Egypt, and we'll be exploring some of them because we'll be up and down the Nile when we are together on the cruise. So with all the buildings on both sides, which would tell you that one day this was again the farmland, The Nile is behind us now, and ahead of us is where the desert, the Sahara. There's a mosque on the left and a church on the right. So many of these religious buildings are here and there, everywhere in Egypt, because our population is counted by the majority Muslims and a percentage of Christians. The Muslims of Egypt are the Sunni Muslims, and later in the afternoon we're going to visit a mosque, and we will have a chance talking a bit more about Islam. I know some of you have been before to Turkey, so they have a bit of a background, but we'll consider our talk about Islam from Egypt perspective rather than Turkey. Although it's a religion at the end, which is the beliefs are more or less the same. Even in other religions, if I'm talking about Christianity, if I'm talking about Jewish, we all believe in a one God, regardless of different prophets. So more or less what we practice, it sounds to be very much the same, considering praying, fasting, charity, believing in this, doing that. It's all different religions with a one God. So there's a percentage of Christians of Egypt, we call them the Copts. This is about 15 to 20%. The Greek Oriental Orthodox are with the ones they name the Copts. And we have a section under the name Coptic Cairo, which is what we talked about this morning as an included site. When we come back to Cairo, if you'd like to visit the Coptic area, this is for a change, for a different part of the history, rather than all the temples that you would learn about through the trip on the Nile. So this will take you to a different chapter, because talking about the Copts of Egypt. Now we're getting off the ring road. Supposedly, if it's not that hazy, the pyramids of Giza will be on the left. So behind these buildings is where the Giza plateau. We'll see them later. And now we're getting off here, and we'll start the trip towards Saqqara. And this is where we go south of Giza. Saqqara, maybe it's a word coming from Sahara, and now you know that Sahara is the word for desert. And also Saqqara might be coming from a word, name of a god, Soccer, and this is a god in charge of the afterlife, in charge of the necropolis. You'll learn a lot about different gods and goddesses in the ancient mythology, so you'll be overwhelmed by stories and legends about the beliefs of the ancient Egyptians. Day by day, we will just keep on adding through our visits and explanations the story of the ancient Egyptian gods. But of course, from the very important names of gods is the god with the name Osiris, and he's known as the god of the afterlife, the god of the necropolis, with a number of others helping him with a way to deal with a dead person, and how this god in charge to judge the person in his afterlife, to figure out if the person was good or bad. And this is all under the god with the name Osiris. Osiris has another famous wife with the name Isis, so they have lots of legends about gods and goddesses through the ancient Egyptian mythology. So we'll start our trip with Saqqara, and when we finish with the Saqqara visit in the desert, we will stop to visit the carpet rug place, the rug school we call it. It's a kind of an educational place. It's the project that the government had in Egypt maybe like about 50 years ago or something, and this is like in the 70s and 80s, trying to work on with the families and the women and the children living in different villages. So they have crafts, different crafts in different villages. In some areas they're famous for pottery makings, in some others are weaving and textiles. Here they are for the rugs, in some places for basket makings, papyrus. So they keep the crafts in different parts of the country. So Saqqara is the place famous for the rugs, and you would learn about this when we go before lunch. Then we will end up in the area there by having lunch in a local restaurant. After lunch we're heading to Cairo. On the east bank we go to visit a mosque, and the mosque that we're visiting this afternoon is in the Islamic section in an area called the Citadel. It's like a fortified walls surrounding a huge section up on a mountain, and there the mosque is built, and we will get inside the mosque and learn about Islam and about the mosque when we are there together. expected to be back on the hotel about 4 o'clock. So here we have different like buildings on the right, close to the city as we're still here, that says school. We have lots of academies and schools, and beside what we have on the right, you can look at the view to the left, and look how nice and green is it down here. We have an irrigation canal on the left side as well. This is how we get the water down here. It doesn't rain much in Egypt. We don't depend on rains. Our source of water is the River Nile. We get a little bit of winter rains in like December, January and February onto the Mediterranean, the cities up in the north like Alexandria. And what's else in the north of Egypt? We have the place called the Delta. So Delta is a number of cities in the north of the country where they get more rains.
Jumping underneath the bus. Perhaps.
To the great site. Look at the view with the palm trees. And as we go up, it will look like an oasis from here. It's really very special. This is the site that gets up with the name of the Sahara. This is the local quarries on your left when you see the limestone. This is the kind of stone which is not as good as the quality of Giza. When we go to Giza tomorrow, you'll figure out the difference with how the block size and the pyramids are there. The view on the right tells you how it's like. We're just by the edge. In a distance to the right is where Cairo, still hazy. They do excavate every now and then, still in Saqqara, expecting more things to be found. And if you've watched a few years ago, they were making a documentary on Netflix of a tomb that is here on the right for Wahti, a noble man under the name Wahti. So this is where a group of people are there, because this is not open yet for public. It's like a private access to get to the Wahti tomb, but we will have another one as an example. This is the site that they still excavate, and we just come sometimes to the place and we find people working around. The step pyramid is there on the left hand side. Look at this style, look at the steps, and we call it a complex. We call it a complex because it's not just the pyramid standing alone, but around the pyramid there is part of other buildings, like part of a temple here or there. And this is what we're going to visit, but after what we are heading to on the right. On the right we are heading to the pyramid of Teti, and a tomb next to it, or we call it a mastaba for a noble man with the name Ka-Gimni. The pyramid I'm talking about, it's really interesting because it doesn't look like a pyramid. Looking on your right, this is what I'm talking about. Look like a mound of sand, but you may go down all the way into the burial chamber, into this pyramid. It's not really very hard to walk down there, but you end up in a room, the burial chamber, and you get to see the hieroglyphic writings on the wall. Ceiling of the room has also some stars decorating, like what you're going to see when you go to the tombs in Luxor. The hieroglyphic, it's like a story of the idea of spiritual things, like prayers to keep the evil spirits away from the tomb or the pyramid. This will be our first stop. When we get off, you're going to follow me, please. I always have the lollipop. So if you travel with Viking, you know that they do have the lollipop. And if you didn't travel with Viking, if you're just with me, I'm too short. You're not going to see me without the lollipop. So you always follow me with the lollipop that says our bus B, and we're on the Aten. So it says up our ship name, and let's make it together. And then under his pyramid we have a list of different names of tombs. So each tomb has the name of the nobleman. So whether we use the word tomb or a mastaba, it looks like what we have in front of you. Can you see the structure in front of us? Like a house structure, flat, and it has a little entry then with a vestibule and then rooms on, and we will take an example of this. Let's go together. So what we're visiting on this spot as we are in the Sahara, there will be the pyramid on the right for King Teti. We'll see how the crowds is, because I can see there is some groups ahead of us. So we'll get some time into the pyramid and then some other time there by the tomb. can take pictures, by the way, all over our sites. If you walk into a pyramid, if you walk into a tomb, you can still take the pictures. They don't have any regulations about not taking pictures. Cameras are okay, cell phones are okay. In some places they will ask you not to use the flash, but in general you can still go on with pictures. You're going to find me always repeating the word in Arabic, good morning, which is Sabah el Khair. So Sabah el Khair is good morning in Arabic. If you want to learn how you say thank you in Arabic, you say shukran. Shukran. Sounds like shuk and run. And this is sometimes it helps when you're dealing vendors or local guards. Always tell you, don't really go into vendors per se. Follow me please to the front on the left side by getting into the tomb. Then when you come out, we walk to the pyramid.
Especially when he deciphered the names of Ptolemy, Epiphanius, and Cleopatra, both by the way.
I'm slowing down and I'm
He
waiting
made
for
a guess
everyone to
that
catch
this
with the
name,
group.
which I see in the
This is
upper
usually
register,
how we do, by the way.
is
I just
inside
have
the
to
oval shape,
lead
should be
the
for a
group,
very
so
important
I'm
person.
in the front.
Should be for this.
But don't feel that if you lost me
Yeah.
for a minute,
Yeah.
you've lost something, because I'll be always in the front and then I'll be slowing down so everybody can catch up with us. What we're doing now, we're walking into this tomb, and the tomb like that has rooms big enough that we can stay as a group, but some others are small rooms that we cannot be there as a group. In some sites, like when we go to the Valley of the Kings, they don't allow us even to join our guests now. In tombs, they explain outside and we let you walk in. They didn't have this decision so far in here, so they still allow us to walk in with our group. So I'll be joining you, but definitely we cannot do it in all the rooms as a group. Simply what we're going to see is carvings on the wall that shows the daily life activities. If they are farming, if they are fishing. Lots of scenes that shows the Nile fish types, the crocodiles, the hippos, which we're not going to see on the Nile anymore because we don't have the crocodiles in the Nile. And this is what we get to see on the facade. The facade also have a little bit of preserved carvings that shows the owner of the tomb. So when you walk in, as if the owner is welcoming people when he walks in, and then they have hieroglyphic writings all over, and you'll be familiar with more texts of hieroglyphics day by day. So let me take you into the tomb of Ka Gimni, and he was a chief or a vizier back into the history in the Old Kingdom. So mind your steps, please, and you're walking in. Gets just the feeling of a little bit dark the minute you walk in.
Sure does.
But we will have a little bit of lighting when we are together. Please. So there's enough room for everybody in this part of the tomb. Just following one another. The one room, as you walk in, just keep coming. It is the same, but it's just your first feeling of walking into a tomb with some carvings on the walls. And I'm taking you back into 2400 before Christ. So the idea to get the fact that this is well preserved from that time, even though we're missing a lot. If you look a little bit up, you can see how missing carvings on the wall. But talking about this tomb had a one day ceiling with a limestone as well. So it was a structure all out of limestone. Missing the ceiling, so they're putting a wooden one instead. These tombs were excavated by the 19th century, and most of our excavations, temples and tombs, they go back to this period, 1820s, 30s, and 40s, and so on. We found some of the carvings in a good preservation. Look at what I'm talking about when they show you the different fish. Look at the crocodile and the boat scenes, different boats and different fish. The more you walk into this part of the wall, you get to this part at the end, and I'm going to show you the farming scenery. This one shows they're milking a cow. Can you see what I'm talking about if you come closer? So they're like milking a cow, and all the procession of the animals.
What happened?
So imagine that this is what they wanted to show us. They were decorating things with what the daily life activities are. Look at the animal scenes, and with all the fish types. The boats were made out of papyrus, and this is the plant that you will learn about when we go to Aswan one day. So one day this tomb was completely decorated from down to up, and from here to there. So the tomb was decorated from all the way down to up. You want to see the cow? Here we go. And the missing section is up there. If I'm talking about the burial was never down here as we're standing, but there will be a shaft to lead to the burial under the ground. So the idea was the person is buried under the ground, and we have this as a house for him to come in and receive offerings and talk about whatever items they're decorating the tomb with. So let's walk from here to another section. So we can walk inside.
Big mountain, Liam. Look at the big toenail.
That's amazing.
This is pink.
Going the wrong way.
We're staying here for a minute.
He's here.
B is here for a minute. If anybody in bus C, you can keep going. Bus C, you can keep going, so don't waste your time. Okay? So here we are on the B bus. We have in this section, it's another small room, but it shows some carvings on the wall. Let me point out a few things. For example, when you look up here, you see the person himself is represented on the wall, and this will be the owner of the tomb. And there's another person standing in front of him, holding like a paper, reading something, as if he's reporting something to the owner. And two other people sitting behind the person standing, and they're holding papers and pens. They've been writing or register something, and they look at all the birds and all the ducks and all the food things. They talk about a lot of food. This is kind of what we consider the food that they would offer to the person. So they would decorate the tombs and they would paint as well. The painting is not in a good condition, but they use natural colors like plants and stones for the painting. You can see a little bit of a red color on the bottom. You can see in some other rooms a bit of blue or green. So they use a lot of colors, and you will see more colors when we get to the tombs of Luxor. They're very rich with the decoration, even though we consider everything is very old today. But again, we're talking here about 2400 before Christ. But when we go to Luxor, we're going to get into a different period, 13th century, 14th century, still before Christ. Everything is very old. Today we're starting with the Old Kingdom, but when we go to Luxor, we'll be into the New Kingdom. We still have other rooms. Look at the owner here again. He's sitting on a chair. And they always represent them wearing like skirts. And the skirts like difference of fashions like we have today. Could be a plain tight skirt, could be a pleated skirt, or a starch, like an apron skirt, as a kind of like a, look at this style. Like a kind of like a starched skirt. You can represent the way how they represent them, it shows the muscles. Look at the knee. Look at the perfection with the way how they show us the figure on the wall. And it looks like it's a 3D. Not a carving, not a recessed carving onto the wall, but they add a layer and they decorate it with. So let's keep walking and we get to other sections.
This is this is the falcon, which is
This is 4,000 years old. our main view?
Yes.
Now, this is a red.
Okay. Then we go to the main hall outside. The free cleaning inside, so we can have a room and everybody to come and join. So a few steps ahead, please get into the room. Okay, can we get over here? Excuse me. Okay. Thank you. So keep walking a little bit to the front. Okay, this is our first example. Let's join together. I'm still waiting for the rest of the group to come in. I know it's a very narrow entrances. Okay, would you come in, please? Thank you so much. Okay, it's a good room, you know, it's a big size one. Come and join. Thank you so much. Here you go. Just follow around a bit. Okay. This is a room which I would consider like a dining room. When you look at the wall, you'll find a lot of food offered. So people standing holding whether baskets or trays of food. And what I'm pointing at the last wall, there, it's the shape of a door. And we call this door the fake door or the false door. It has a roller in the middle, as if the person will be going out and in his afterlife to the real life. So he'll be coming into the tomb and to get to live here and to receive all the offerings and the food items which they're decorating the wall with. When you look at the wall, it's divided into registers. So they really wanted to tell us different stories on different parts. And they were keen very much of doing like vertical and horizontal lines to keep the squares. So they're special artists, specialized. The squares are so important because this is the proportion of any of the figure. If they want to talk about the figure of a head will take 1 square, the body will take 3, the legs will take so they will have a symmetric representation on the wall, and then they divide the wall into registers, as you can see, and they have all the story representing, look like waiters, holding trays and holding food items. So this is the room about that. We have another last room on the left, and this is sort of like a dressing room or a room that talks about fabrics. It shows you people again holding fabrics. It shows boxes that they keep jewelry items in. It's a small size room, and I would consider it like a dressing room. So it's a house structure that has the vestibule in the front. You get into the one room, shooting after the other, and this is a simple example of how a tomb and all the land would look like. We have a number of these in Sakar, but we're taking one as an example. When you take my picture into the last room, I'll be waiting for you outside, so you can walk to get to the third of 50. Another challenge for those who want to.
I need you here. In this corner, once this gentleman moves out.
Thank you.
Sure.
I want to take a picture. Go ahead.
Here we go.
That looks pretty good, and that's gone.
Yeah.
Want me to get to yours?
Yeah, it's already set.
Gotcha. Gotcha. One. Gotcha. You're welcome.
Why don't you get it there? I'll take a picture of you. Oh, that's nice. Nice. Christianity and Islam that came over, and some of the chiseling happened.
Can't get in. You gotta wait.
Could be, and sometimes randomly chiseling. When It shows, for example, like women walking and carrying baskets from top of the head to the
Mariette is French archaeologist that was in the 80s. End of the 80s.
The conflict of the time that is taking place between hippopotamus crocodile. Can you see this? I was mentioning to the people exactly the story. So this is here.
Said.
Egyptian cotton. See? Open it.
Okay, we'll take our turn, so try to get closer when you see the sign. Our lollipop is in the front, so come closer with our group in case you wanted to go inside the pyramid. So we're here on the B bus. And what are we seeing when you go there? I'm not joining, I did it several times, but you'll be walking down to get to the burial chamber, and it has the hieroglyphic text. And the decoration simply, it's prayers to keep the evil spirits away from the tomb. Before decorating this pyramid with these prayers, they were just saying it orally, accompanying the death of the person. And then they thought, why not to keep it written on the wall? So we call it the pyramid's text. So what you're gonna see, it's the pyramid's text, which was used in the Old Kingdom. Later on in the Middle Kingdom, they wrote the text but closer to the body, and they gave it the word the coffin text. Then in the New Kingdom, they wrote it on the walls of the tombs, and they gave it the word the Book of the Dead. The Book of the Dead, it's the whole story of the afterlife, including chapters of the prayers. So it started as an oral prayers, then pyramids text, coffin text, and it ended up to be the whole trip of the afterlife with the gods. But here you're not going to find any carving that tells you about gods. It's only going to be the hieroglyphics. And don't miss to look at the ceiling when you're walking, because the ceiling is so nice with some stars. Not as what we're going to see in Luxor's tomb, but why not as a beginning? And this is an easy pyramid to walk in. You get down this way, same way in and out, and you can take pictures when you walk there as well. Okay, would you like to start on? Can I take a picture? Yes, ma'am. Okay. I'll take care of the guard who is going to join you as you walk in. We are taking care of his gratuity, so don't bother if you keep asking for whatever. It happens whenever you're on your own. He keeps asking about the gratuity, but we're taking care of him. Yalla bina? Okay, would you follow, please? It's the same way in and out, and they'll be waiting for you. It takes you like about
Watch your head.
Oh yeah.
Watch your head.
Watch your head. Go ahead.
Watch your head. Watch your head.
I'm sorry, I can't use my right arm.
Oh, watch out. Watch out. I'll go to the right.
A destra chi scende, a sinistra, a destra chi sale, a sinistra chi scende.
Watch your head.
Yeah.
Slowly, 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 slowly. Slowly, slowly, slowly.
Okay. Yeah.
Stand up.
Okay. Can I stand? Okay, good.
Where from?
Canada?
Welcome, Canada.
Thank you.
Watch your head, the Canada dragon.
Welcome.
Stand at the Canada.
Ah,
Stand at the Canada. Very good.
An experience.
Come.
both sides. So my husband's sick.
Inside a pyramid.
He come down me.
Watch your head. Very good.
Can't come here and say you haven't been in a pyramid.
No.
Good. Fine. Come in.
Okay.
Coming in?
Come in.
Come in. Okay.
Watch your head.
Slowly, slowly. Watch your my hand, watch your my tips.
Okay.
Slowly, slowly. This way, my friend.
Watch your head.
Yeah.
Watch your head, Amal. So,
Okay. Yeah.
watch your head, the Canada dragon. Watch your head, the Canadian. Stand up, the Canada.
And stand up in here.
Stand up, the Canada dragon.
I'm New Zealand.
No, no, no.
Oh, I'm from New Zealand, yep.
New Zealand. Oh, okay.
Have camera photo. Picture.
Oh, no, no,
No.
My
He's
hand.
still coming.
Photo for you.
Sir?
Picture.
No, I'm okay. Thanks.
Watch
I
your
want to
head.
take a picture of my husband coming.
Okay, watch your head, my hand.
He's gonna.
Stand there, the Canadian. Canadian or American?
American.
Oh, wow.
Tell me yourself the stars.
The stars. Oh, yeah.
It's coming here.
I thought there were.
Sarcophagus the mummy. Mummy is the kind of Egyptian music. You shall see the stars. Come here, American. Slowly, slowly. Hey, Merry Christmas.
No. They say, where you talk, thank you.
Merry Christmas, yeah. Stand up. Ben. Come here, American. Come here, American. Sarcophagus. Hey.
Okay.
Stand up. Stand up. Hey, good sarcophagus. Come here, American. Come on, American. Merry Christmas. Slowly, slowly. Slowly, slowly. Love your sarcophagus. Sarcophagus. Hey, sarcophagus. Merry Christmas.
No, they said they would tip you for us.
Slowly, slowly. Slowly, slowly. Where do you go? It's not the field,
I don't know why that is very low. Let's start back up.
Hey, Greg. Wow. See the stars on the ceiling up here? Looks like starfish. Stars? Okay. Looks like starfish to me. Look in the coffin there, Greg. Go look in there.
Well, you snuck in. Good. You understand this idea?
I'll take a picture of you if you want.
Thank you. Yes, that doesn't happen.
Sure.
Yes,
Good. You're welcome. You're welcome. Oh yeah, sure. Oh.
Okay? Look at the stars. Starfish.
Take a picture of me. Oh. Did you get it?
Good?
That's not claustrophobic.
No. Were you? It's a little claustrophobic going in there for sure.
Watch your head.
Watch your head there, Greg.
What do you want to take a picture of?
Wow.
Coming back wasn't so bad. You knew how long it was going to be. Going down, you thought, when's this going to end?
Tickets.
Okay.
Slowly keep walking. We're just following one another. When you are walking, imitating the walls of a palace. If the king lived one day in Memphis in a palace, this palace was surrounded with a similar wall like this. So they were big believers if he's going to live in his afterlife in the pyramid. So they surrounded the pyramid with a similar idea of a wall. Nothing is well preserved from the wall except a very small section, and it's been restored and part of it reconstructed as a small entrance. So we're going to walk together to this entrance. Luxury style of an entrance to a complex. So let's go together. This will be the same way out. When you finish with the visit to the step pyramid, you're taking the same way to come out when you get to the bus. And you see how the columns are designed in a way? And of course you can figure out the restoration. The lower part of the column is well all preserved. The more you keep looking up, you can see the restoration in some new blocks. And the ceiling has been completely reconstructed. Well, we kept telling you that Imhotep was the architect. Did you hear this when you were in the bus? Imhotep was a very special architect. When he was building with the limestone, he didn't think that limestone is all made like this and stand still. He always thought that the column was flat. So So with a 4-feet column, we built an adjoining wall from the column to the wall at the back. So having these kind of moves ended up with lovely castles or these little rooms. And this was crystallized yet from them to protect these columns. You can notice, of course, that we have no carvings and no stories and no writing or hieroglyphics on the wall. We're talking about 2700 before Christ. 300 years before the pyramid that we just walked in. So the pyramid that you walked in was rich with the hieroglyphics, but this one doesn't have any kind of a story. And it's just very plain. It was the first trial to build a pyramid in Egypt. So we're walking together in a luxury style of this colonnade, and we will get later into temples when we are together in Luxor, that they have bigger kind of poles and columns. And one of the rooms that we will visit one day in a temple, it's going to be like 130 columns in a room. So it's like a luxury style. These ancient Egyptians, how they were advanced in engineering and how they were able to build the great monuments in such a style. And they're well preserved up to today, and they go back to ages before Christ. At the end of this colonnade, we will be in an open space, a big courtyard. And it was used in ancient times for a special festival, like a Jubilee festival. I'll be waiting there at the courtyard for everyone in the group, so we can be together for a few minutes to tell you about what's the colonnade and what's the courtyard. And then I'll give you some time to be on your own and to take your pictures. So as you come up from the colonnade, we keep walking. That shows you the step pyramid of King Zoser. Keep following, please, the lollipop as you walk in. This is not the time of the year for sandstorm, but it looks like it's a little bit sandy as well. Give us a taste of it. April, March and April, not let's be together for a minute. I'm not going to keep you waiting for long. Walking together by the colonnade, we are standing in front of the pyramid of King Zoser. Have a look at the pyramid. Look at the one first step on the bottom. This was the first trial of building the pyramid. The architect tried. He was only planning it to be a one bench. He didn't think that it was going to end up to be a pyramid. And look at the corner on the right side. Can you see the enlargement that he did for the first step? So it looks like he was impressed when he finished up with one step. So he kept enlarging it from the sides. And then why not to make it bigger? He kept adding one step on top of the other. So this is what they found under the pyramid of King Zoser. The room under the pyramid, we call it the northern tomb. Why north? Because if you look behind you, there is a shaft that leads to another room. And this is the same level of the room under the pyramid, and they call it the southern tomb. We got one for north and one for south. Why was that? Early in our history, very beginning, north and south of Egypt was separated. There was a king ruling the north part of the country and another king ruling the south. And then in the year 3200 before Christ, we heard about a king coming from the south. He was very powerful. He was able to make a unification. Surrounding the southern and the trees of cobras.
아, 뭐라 문제야? 시원.
So today you have seen already the Sphinx, the real Sphinx, and now you see a bird above the cobras. Okay? Now let's go. So this was the Southern so good. Reincarnation of the king. We let the king wear the crown of Egypt. Because the king wished two crowns always in our temple. Painted white and red. The white the land or the earth of symbols. That was in Egypt. The sun. Unification. The crowns. So first of all, he was built only 4 steps. If you want to take a good picture, you make them up this way. 60, 65. Because it's a panoramic view. That shows the whole complex. And when you're up there, keep looking to the left or further south, which is the beautiful Black Shore, the one with the 10 pyramids. And next to the 10 pyramids is the Blue Pyramid. But when you're on your own, taking your pictures or walking around, please be careful with the vendors. And there's some people up there offering camel ride or horse ride. Don't follow because we're going to do this tomorrow when we're together. It's included in your tour, the camel ride by the Giza Plateau. So forget about the hassle of these people around here. Just enjoy the place, take your pictures. They do have some items nice available. With the bargaining, you can have good offers. When you come down, please take the same direction as you walked in. You'll be going by the colonnade. And I feel the bus is 25 minutes.
You want to box a card? You want shop? You want shop?
Yeah, there's some camel rides up here by the pyramids. Going tomorrow. Good at the other end from an angle.
Oh yeah.
To look at that.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
But they're gotta go through the camel riders,
yeah.
the camel trips.
Yeah, we gotta catch a bus.
Yeah, that one.
And that's the most.
Thought you'd gone for a camel ride.
I couldn't beat him. I couldn't. He didn't want to negotiate, so that's it.
Oh, is that right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought we were gonna see you running around like the hippodrome with the camel around here, hanging on side saddle. Oh, I didn't notice. Are those two humps or one hump camels?
I couldn't tell you.
I'll get a picture of you, Craig. Get a picture of you with the pyramid behind you.
But it's not going to be the genuine feeling of a desert like Saqqara, because the Giza is close to the city, so there is more buildings and buildings. Nobody expected that when they built the pyramid out there that people would be living close to the pyramid and the Sphinx as well. So from here, what I need to tell you concerning the sign-up form, you can still keep them with you, I'll collect them later. But one question I need to ask, because this is what the office needs to know first. Anybody is signing up for the market tonight? Does anybody adding the market for tonight? Okay, this is the one thing that they need to know, because they need to make the booking for the dinner. Otherwise, we'll do after lunch. I'm going to collect the papers so you have the time to sign up and enjoy the next stops that we have in our tour. We're going first with the carpet, and then we're having a break for lunch. And after lunch, when we are heading back to the city, I'm going to collect the rest of the papers if you still have them. Okay? Please come and join us for a minute. Walid, our local guide, will tell you all about the carpets. He knows definitely better than what I know here. And once we're done, there'll be upstairs for the showroom, and we have restrooms there as well.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Please come closer. I just want to read my name back. Just if you have any question, you can stop me to get the answer. I am Wally, not Wallet. Not worry, okay? Yes. And it's in a school, and you heard from Lamia that we teach here the art of weaving. We teach apprenticeship. It takes it from 7 to 10 years to be as a graduate. After they finish, they can go back home, establish their own business. As you call it in America, cottage industry. That we teach them something about that. How can they make custom orders in their houses? For example, that loom was dedicated to a woman with Viking, was looking for a very odd size, was looking for 9 by 9 feet. 9 by 9 does not exist in the world. We work in standards. We teach them is that 2 by 4 like a small prayer rug, 3 by 5 mostly to hang, 4 by 6 for entrance, 5 by 8 for a couch. But take care, if you have an expensive couch, you must get an expensive rug, right? And 6 by 9, 60 chairs, 8 by 10, 2 usages, 8 by 10 is 80 chairs, or for a small living room, family room. 9 by 12, 10 chairs, 10 by 13, 10 by 14, big living rooms, up to 13 by 19. This is the biggest now. Before we had 16 by 24 feet. We teach them in 3 different sections. From the beginning, we teach them in silk, wool, bamboo, and cotton blended. Okay? Please focus on my explanation, because I'm starting now offering you free threads and 2 free carpets. How can you get free threads and free carpets? You do not believe me? I'm not a liar. I'm extremely serious. You right now you'll believe. Okay? Answer my questions correctly. Right? The best thing in the floor is what? Silk. Silk is top-notch quality, much more durable, but more expensive. Okay? Here, where is the best silk in the world? Sure me something. Sure me, okay? What's your favorite color?
Blue.
Is this okay?
Yeah.
Congratulations. My second question is harder, but the third is the easiest. You'll know the answer, you'll get all free threads, okay? Ready? Second question is, where is the best wool in the world? Hard question. What's your favorite colors? Marino 6000 is the best. We use it very good quality. We're in a very high traffic area. Now my easiest question to get the free threads. Where is the best cotton in the world? Egypt, yes, go ahead, please. Select. You all, please come closer. Is there any barrier to get your free thread? Any barrier? May I get my axe to break the barrier? Go ahead. Yes, go ahead. Why are you stopping? It's unstoppable. You understand? Yes, get what you want. Because wait, take care. My government, sorry, my next question is very hard. Yet the award is very expensive. Yes, perfect. Very good. You deserve. Yes.
I would crush it.
Yes, you can do it. Now, oh, yes. From England? Is it?
Favorite.
Now, please listen back. What is, are you with me back? Yeah. Ma'am? Maths. What is the next important issue of a handmade rug after the material? Is how many knots per square inch? We have partners. More knots means what? More durable, more expensive, right? In blended pieces, we have our pieces from 100 knots per square inch up to 304 knots per square inch. 304 knots is not many in blended, just 5 pieces, to be extremely honest. But in silk, are you listening? We have a gap. Take care please. 9 women with Viking cried, heavily cried. Why? Because they were close to the correct answer and they lost the rug. I'm talking about the free rug. Okay. In silk pieces, the minimum number is 300 knots per square inch. How many? 300 knots. What is the highest number per square inch that we still have? 300 is the minimum. What is the highest number per square inch? 900. 900. Have you ever seen 900, 1200? 500. 500? 600. Upstairs, I can show the thicker. The price is sold by what? By knots. More knots, clearly more expensive. 300 knots we have, 400, 625, 750, 900 knots, 1225, 1225, 1400. We were 304 is not showing for 4 reasons. The first reason is, if you have seen a piece, be honest with me. If you have seen a piece with 4,260 knots per square inch, would you leave?
How many knots per inch do you have? How many knots per inch do you have?
Your wallet will cry, right?
Yeah.
Now, you lost the what? The free silk rug. Fabulous rug. One piece of the wall. 4,260 knots per square inch. We hide. We should put the people still divide. But we still have something for you. Another 2 issues. The first issue is the job. If you can make it out yourself here without any help, I'm repeating back. You don't have to cheat me, okay? Be honest. Without any help, you can get a job here, okay? Are you ready to get a job? Who is ready to get a job? Please come closer, please. Please come closer. Let's watch Mimi is making for us now Tree of Life. The most I showed upstairs. But the biggest Tree of Life has been made in Egypt was 12 by 17. A custom border for a very important person who wanted that kind of pattern. Please watch Mimi carefully. If anybody with a job, come. Man, you're still young, come here. You are working. Are you polite? Looking? Come here. It's your chance. Your dream. To accomplish your dream. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, you want to try. Sit down. Where is your family? Take a picture. Please wait between she is making. As in evidence that you get a job. Encourage her, please do something. Please help me, please. Do anything. Okay. Yes, he will show you back. He's showing you back to make it correctly. Look at him. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Yes. good. Use your 2 hands. Use the other hand. Yes. Perfect. We are very. What does she do in America?
She's a counselor.
Oh, perfect. Very good. Please, she did it. Very good. Congratulations. Take care. When we go up the stairs, then ask this question. Waleed, my piece is washable or not? All the pieces up the stairs are washable. We use water and we use very expensive chemical dye to wash it yourself. Now let's watch a piece before we go up the stairs. 4 by 6 feet in silk rocking 900 knots per inch. A woman still lifted up the stairs, but she was looking for a different dimension. Let's watch the rock. This rock is 4 by 6 feet for entrance. It's a pure silk rock. These projects is beautiful for a high traffic area, silk to silk. The woman loved the piece, but Waleed cannot afford it in silk. And this is 900 knots per inch. Look at the back, look at the back, see the quality. Yes, exactly, the quality. Here this is a runner are making for her. We're making 2 runners, one for us and one for her. I know that you are very sad, and I'm much more sad because you have lost the most expensive rug in exercise, right? But I still have something for you. I'll never leave you alone. I still have a free. Are you listening? Are you listening? I'm talking to you. Okay. We still have a free rug behind you, man. It's 8 by 10 feet. Who will qualify it? Who will tell me the quality of the rug? How many knots? The material? Who will take it free? It's 8 by 10 feet for a small dining room. But I'm serious. I'm serious. You will try and you can get it. Okay? Otherwise, okay? Go there, when you check it, qualify, tell me the quality of the piece. You'll take it free. You will see. Let's go. Are you with me? Okay? Let's go.
Really going that fast. Look at that one, huh? Jeez. Almost like spastic, yeah. I can't believe they move so fast.
Let's who can tell me because Alibaba gives them a chance.
That's a baseball itself.
The same, you want to got it? You want to have of it? Because you will share it. You're from New Zealand, you're from America, right? Like 2 countries, how can we ship it? How can we ship it to 2 places? Hard, right? We lose, right? We'll, okay, you can't pay her, okay? Excuse me, are you listening?
Yep.
All the people in the world, they have a dream of having a pure silk rug in 8 by 10 feet. I know that you had this dream. What's your name? Kelly telling me, Waleed, I need a piece 8 by 10 feet for my living room, but must be silk. Kelly, it's at least $30,000. Oh, Waleed, I can't, but my husband is my barrier. Please, what can you do, Waleed? You leave me alone? I'm right. We have to make alternative to make her husband happy too. We must satisfy him, right? That we have something blended. Pure silk, at least $30,000 in 8 by 10. This is alternative. This is bamboo silk. People can afford silk. The deal is expensive. Wool. The Egyptian cotton is the best. This kind of quality to be for a second high traffic area. After what? After silk and silk. And you can't put it in the dining room. You can't wash it. When you wash, you must iron to sheen and sheen back. And you have to use your vacuum. Everything with the pile. Not the case, the nap. You keep it forever and for your children and grandchildren. Okay? Are you ready now? We'll go upstairs, but before having a seat, excuse me, we have to drink something, and eat something. Our Egyptian hospitality is very famous all over the world. They say welcome very much. Okay? Have you decided the color or what size?
Oh, I'm working on it.
Yes, working hand. Hard.
No, before we got in here.
Wow.
I found one. Bye, Daddy.
this is a washroom.
Yes, hibiscus tea.
This is normal, diet.
Coca-Cola? Is that diet?
Diet. This is normal.
That's okay.
Are you ready to start the explanation back? 2 reasons. Okay, are you with me back? They get Egyptian claim for 2 reasons. The first reason is what? It's reversible. You can use it both sides. Sometimes it's different, sometimes it's identical. It depends on the artist. If he's a very high qualified artist, he can make 2 different pieces in one. And you can carry it anywhere. But this is not the issue. The most important thing for them is what? You understand? The back side is free, universal. But it has one problem. If anybody wants to take his shoes and socks off to try their quality, it's available. Okay? If you want to take your shoes and socks and move into pieces, it's a free, you won't be gonna ask anything. But the quality does not fly. What is a semi-flying rod? Is bamboo and cotton.
ده القصه الثانيه يعني مع بعضين كلهم خلاص لا بس افهم قبلتهم
There's one that's still there. This is modern place. You have like modern sofa, you have modern table, people love modern walls.
Hey, Greg!
Islamic section and having dinner. And when you're there for the tour, please, you need to have your white boxes with you as well. So we need them for any excursion. Everywhere, if you're going anywhere for an excursion, we need the white boxes with us, except the day when we go for the balloon. So we just need you to enjoy the ride without any kind of explanation. So for tonight's excursion that leaves the hotel at 5:30, for those who are going from our bus, just don't forget the white boxes with you, please. We're still having today the visit together to the mosque. And this will be one of the nice mosques that we have in Cairo. Cairo is the city that's famous with a very big number of mosques, to the extent that we call it the city with 1,000 minarets. Just an indication to how big number of mosques that we have in Cairo. The very old mosques in Cairo or in Egypt, it goes back to the 7th century. This is the time when Islam as a religion started in Egypt. Before Islam was in Egypt, Egypt was a Christian country, so the main religion was for our country was Christianity from the 1st century all the way till the 7th. And then people started to convert and became a Muslim country, and the majority today are the Muslims. So as we're back to the capital, back to the ring road, they're still having road construction around this part of the city because they've been enlarging the ring road the last couple of years. The ring road is already from here, from the 20 years ago, but lately they decided to enlarge the ring road, so they were even demolishing some of the buildings on the sides of the road. The buildings that you see on both sides as we're driving now, they've been built randomly, starting from the 1970 and the 1980, when the farmers were the ones living here, as I said this morning, and then they started taking the permission and building all these apartment blocks that you see them on the sides. Some they look to be just unsymmetric, some looks to be unfinished because they were really building random. They didn't have the right permit to come up with the height of the building, whatever the size of how far they go up with their number of their apartments. It was a lot of corruption issues, I have to say, that was at the time when they started building all over this part of the capital. So it was quite easy when the government decided to enlarge the ring road to come to the people living around here and the owners of all the buildings and to tell them simply that we're going to demolish the building. They didn't have a big say about it because already their paperwork were not really right. So this is what happened the last couple of years, and they're working on, also on the left you can see part of like new stations for, we're working on making a fast train and a monorail. So they're working on the last 4 years ago in Cairo, building a new capital, and the new capital is a little bit east from where we are, closer to the airport, like half an hour away from the airport. And the reason of having a new capital is to just cope up with the population problem that we have in Cairo and to stretch the city and to move to the newer section towards the desert. But to move to these new sections, they have to find means of transportation. So they're working on fast train and they're working on a monorail. And they started last summer moving some of the government building to the new administration capital, and eventually they have a plan to move all the government buildings to the new capital. Cairo, it's been the capital in Egypt since the 7th century, and this is when the Arabs came in, introducing the new religion. And Islam as a religion started back in Saudi Arabia, but then they started to enlarge the Islamic empire, moving to the different cities and the countries nearby. So Egypt became a Muslim country by the 7th century, and the area where they settled in as they first arrived, this was Cairo, and it was the capital of Egypt. Cairo comes from an Arabic word, Al-Qahira, and Al-Qahira in Arabic means the victorious. So this was the city that has the victories and the settlement of the first Muslim rulers to Egypt. Within minutes we're going to cross the river Nile again, so we're going to move back from Giza to Cairo. East and west, as we said this morning. And I talked earlier about south and north, and I told you how south is upper and north is lower. We're starting our trip together in Cairo, and this is lower Egypt. But after tomorrow we'll be flying early morning to Luxor, and this will be part of the south, which is upper Egypt. Cairo, to start with, it's a good introduction about the history, and then more to be added on when we are together on the Nile in Luxor, down to Aswan, and then back to Luxor. This is where the flyover or the ring road takes us across the Nile. So we're crossing the river Nile, and we still have the lovely farms. If you look on the right side, you can see what I'm talking about. So one day, like on the right, it was all as green as this. So imagine from the Nile all the way to the desert, it was such a green area like what we get on the right. So these are the very few little islands that we still have them close to the capital. And facing these lovely islands, it's the tall buildings, which is the nice part of the city where people live in the apartments, quite expensive apartments looking over the river Nile. So this is where in Cairo, on the east, and not far from here is where the city started as a capital. Not far from here as well is where we have the section that's called Coptic Cairo, And Coptic Cairo, it has ruins of Coptic churches that were earlier from Islam. And when they built the Coptic churches, they built them on the ruins of the Roman temples. So let me take you through the history one step at a time. We started our history with the ancient Egyptians, the ancient kings and queens, where you're familiar with very good number of their names, like Ramesses II, like Tutankhamun, like Nefertiti, and a number of other kings and queens. But this is all through the history that was between the old, the middle, and the new kingdom. After the new kingdom and the pharaonic period of our history, we have the arrival of Alexander the Great. And this was the beginning of a new era. In the year 323, Alexander conquered Egypt, and this was the beginning of the Ptolemies, the Greek rulers, where Alexander did not stay in Egypt for long. He left the country under the rule of the Ptolemies, and the Ptolemies were the 13 of them ruling the country one after the other, with the famous Cleopatras as well. And this is part of what we will learn about when we are together visiting some of the temples on the Nile cruise. So the Ptolemies were after the pharaohs, where the Greeks ruled Egypt for 300 years. Then after the Greeks, we had the Romans for 700 years. During the Roman time, and back to the 1st century, Christianity was introduced. So it was a big change from the multiple gods that we had in the ancient Egyptian time to the one God and to the Christianity. This wasn't an easy move. It was like a bit of a hard time for the country, but Egypt became a Christian country since the 1st century, and it was the time when they started building churches all over Egypt. Till the 7th century, when they started having Islam, so it was another move from Christianity to Islam, and also when they moved up from Alexandria to have the capital in Egypt, which was Cairo. Now we are not far from all these old sections I'm talking about. In a few minutes we'll be close to the Islamic section, and this is where the very old mosques that we're going to see them on the way. The very old mosque is back to the 7th century, but they kept on building a number of others. There's another mosque dating back to the 9th. I'm talking about the ones that they're still preserved somehow. And then we have a number of other mosques that they're dating to the 14th century, 15, 16, and 17, and just keep on going. The one that we're going to visit together now, and it's for the time of Muhammad Ali, the famous ruler, it's dating back to the 19th century, because the mosque we have in our itinerary, it was built in 1830, 19th century. And this was the time when Muhammad Ali asked an architect to come from Turkey, build him a mosque, very much like the Blue Mosque in Istanbul. So when you were there in Turkey, in Istanbul, you visited the Blue Mosque, and the one that we're going to visit this afternoon, it's nearly a copy to the Blue Mosque. It's the same architectural design. It has just 2 minarets, not the 6 as the one there in Turkey, but as the dome structure and the design, it's very much the same. Now looking to your right hand side, you can see this is part of the Muslim cemetery. It's a huge cemetery that we have in Cairo, and it's an old cemetery that dates back to the 14th century, and it's still in use up till today. The more we drive past the cemetery, you're going to see the very old mausoleums of the sheikhs that were dating back to the 14th, 15th century. The Muslims of Egypt, they can use their cemetery for one generation after the other. They don't really need space because when we have the burial process, we don't use the box for the burial. We use the box only for the funeral procession. When we come to the burial, we take the body out of the box. So the same place under the ground, it's what people can use and use again and again. So it's been for so long, the cemetery here on the right side. We call this cemetery area the City of the Dead. And the reason we give it this name, that there is for some time, some homeless people in Cairo were living down there in the tombs. Such a hard way of living, and the government was very much against this, so they started to move the families that were living there, and now we just consider a cemetery, and as you see it to the right, each cemetery is composed of like 2 rooms belongs to a family, with a fence that surrounds the whole thing. It reminds us somehow with the mastaba that we visited early this morning in Saqqara. The mastaba this morning had the burial down under the ground, but the rooms on the top in the mastaba as we walked, it was with the carving that includes the story of the person, what he was doing, if he was farming, fishing, offering, Nowadays we don't decorate, so we don't do any kind of paintings or carvings in our tombs. We just keep them very plain. But this is just a tradition from ancient time that we have the burial under the ground, only the box for the funeral, but when they come to the burial, it's the body wrapped up in linen, like the mummy shape of what we hear about from the ancient time. Looking on the right, you can see some of the old domes, and this would indicate that these are the mausoleums of some of the sheikh. Sheikh is like the high priest, the sheikhs ruling the country by the 14th and the 15th century, so this is part of the mausoleums there on the right hand side. It's a huge area. If you look on the left, you can see the extension of this cemetery, so it's on both sides that we have the cemetery area, and we're also close to where the quarries, where the limestone comes from. So ahead of us is the huge mountains, and this is where the hills, where the limestone, we get white and yellow limestone from here, and up on the hills there is a whole city nowadays. We call it the Muqattam city, with the name of the hills, and the government was encouraging the locals from Cairo recently to move and live up on the top. It's a nice place in the summer where it's nice and cooler than other parts of Cairo. So the quarries to the right is also where the ancient Egyptians got some of the blocks to build the pyramids. So they had to move some stones from east to west, and it was all done by the help of the Nile, when the Nile used to flood. So they were making benefit out of the flooding, and the flooding of the Nile is where they moved the stones from east to west. Most of the stones to build the pyramids were from Giza, from where the desert is, but some were from Cairo. And now we are close to the mosque that we're visiting together, and it's going to be in a minute to your left side. It's a mosque built inside an area called the Citadel. The Citadel, it's a kind of a fortified walls. It covers a huge area, and this has been built by Saladin in the 12th century. Saladin is the same Saladin that you hear about in the history, that he's been pushing the Crusaders out of the area, expecting that the Crusaders are coming along to Egypt. He wanted to defend himself, so he built the citadel, and he lived up there on the left side in this fortified areas back in the 12th century. From the 12th century up till the 19th century, they've been living in the citadel area, all the rulers of Egypt, one after the other. The last one who lived here was Muhammad Ali. We call him Muhammad Ali the Great. He is a founder of a big family that was in the early 19th century. And the family went all the way down till the last member of the family, his name was King Farouk. Could be this is something that you can remember, because I'm talking about the 1950s. When I'm talking about Farouk, when we had a revolution at that time, and I'll tell you about details of more concerning this family and how it started with Muhammad Ali and ended up by King Farouk. So there to the right is where the quarries, you see quite a big section of it, while to the left is where the citadel, and the citadel is built on part of the quarries, because the base of the citadel is part of where the limestone comes from, and then they built the towers and the walls that join the towers, so they're all connecting by semi or cylindrical towers, and this is what's been back to the 12th century. So this is now part of the Islamic section, part of the old city, and we have a very big number of different mosques around this part of Cairo. When you look on the left side from here, as we're making a U-turn, you're going to find a number of minarets. I know it's a bit dusty and it's not very clear, but behind the area where the citadel, we have the very big number of mosques that we have in the city. So we will be together visiting the Saladin and the Mosque of Muhammad Ali. So when we get off the bus, please, I will ask you to follow me with the lollipop. We will have our white boxes on. We're on the same channel. We don't move it as far as we're together on the same bus. So we're on channel 7, and we're going to walk together. I'm going to give you a ticket when you get off the bus. This ticket is what you hold on. Don't lose it. because this is what you need to scan. Now we're going to walk by one, passing a metal detector to get into the citadel area. Then after the metal detector, we have a scanner where you scan your ticket, and this will be a procedure that we will do in any of the sites. Starting our visit for the coming days, we'll go into the same thing, go passing the metal detectors. We put everything that we have on the metal detectors. If you're wearing your white boxes, you don't need to take them off. Keep them on. You just walk through the metal detector with the white box. But anything else, if you have a purse, if you have a backpack, you put them in the metal detector. If you have a phone or a camera, you can put them on top. So just pass them on top. And once we're there on the other side of the gate,
72 على
we
3
will
عربيات
start together walking
بنسقرها ورايحين بعد كده فين
in the
متمسك.
citadel area. We'll walk to get to the mosque. It's few minutes walk, and same place as we walk together. We'll be coming back when we finish with the tour. So we'll be together as a group for some time, getting into the mosque, talking about it and the history behind it, and then giving you some free time at the end so you can take some pictures. And you can take pictures, by the way, inside the mosque as well. No regulations of how we walk in. The only thing they ask us for, that we are going to give you these over shoes. You put them on your shoes. You don't need to take your shoes off. So we'll put these on your shoes. Our driver will give you these when you get off the bus. And we don't wear them except at the entrance of the mosque, because in the beginning we're walking for a few minutes together to get to the entrance of the mosque. So there by the entrance we're going to put the overshoes, and we don't need any kind of scarves for the ladies or anything to wear. And I think it's a bit windy, so if anybody wants to have his jacket with him, because we'll be going up a little bit high as well. If you feel you're comfortable without the jacket, it's up to you, but in general, this is what I can feel. This will be our parking place, and we will be back to the parking, leaving from here 20 minutes after 3. 20 minutes after 3 is departure from here. The buses will park here on the left side. So once you come back from the whole tour, you'll find our 3 buses parked one next to the other, and this is where we get from here back to the hotel. Expected to be at the hotel at 4 o'clock.
But if you look behind you, if you look to your left side, you can see a number of other
I'm gonna wait. Don't put it on till you see it.
I'm in the courtyard by the mosque.
أشهد